Today we're going to create some digital art in Procreate. This particular one is great for book lovers. If you love to read books like I do, you're going to enjoy making this cute card. It says, "It's a good day to read." Okay, to start out, we're going to open Procreate. And then at the top, you want to press the plus button. And then you want to go ahead and click Customize. We're going to do it 3000 by 4200 in pixels. And then just make sure your color profile is not set to display, but set to RGB. To make this simpler, we're going to import the sketch, go to the wrench icon, then click Add. We're going to insert a photo, and then choose the photo that you can download from the comments. All right, so now we will have one layer, and it's our sketch layer. But we are actually going to be drawing on top of this layer, so click the plus icon. And what we're going to end up having are three different drawings, a stack of books with leaves, a single book with some leaves, and a coffee cup, also with some leaves. And we'll show you how to do each one of those. And then we'll have the banner that says, "It's a good day," and then the lettering at the bottom that says "to read." Now, we're gonna start with this book right over here. And so what we're going to do is go to your classic library. You're going to swipe over, duplicate, and then click on, yours should say Studio Pen 2. Mine says 3 because I've done this before. And then you're going to click on the Studio Pen and you're going to increase stabilization just to around 30% so that you have a little bit more control. Now, go ahead and choose this green color here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like in the disc so you can find it. I'm between the green and the yellow, almost in the middle. You're going to click there and get this nice green color. Then we're just going to trace our book into layers here. You click on layer 1. You see the N there. If you click on the N, you're going to decrease the opacity just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better when we're drawing. And then make sure you go back up to your layer 2, and we're ready. If you want to draw a straight line, you draw the line and then hold down the pen. It will make a straight line for you. And so I'm just going through and I'm tracing. And then to color in the book, we're going to go back up to our color and drag it and let it fill in. Okay, the next thing on the book is we want to add the pages here. We're going to just click this nice off-white color and make another layer underneath the book. And then you can trace your pages. Again, we're going to drag the color in. And now we have the pages for the book. To have it outlined a little bit more, we're going to see we've got our book layer and our pages layer. And we did this underneath just so that it would be easier to fill in the color and not color over the green book. And then if you take 2 fingers and you pinch together the layers, oops. All right. On the book layer, we're going to go in and we're going to get that green color, we're gonna do it just slightly lighter. And then we're gonna come in and draw a line. Hold it down so it turns straight, and now we have our book. Okay. Next, on a new layer, we're gonna take this dark green color here, and we're gonna create some vines. Make sure you're on a new layer above the book layer. And we're just gonna swirl around the book. Then, after we've made our vine, I'm gonna go back and just draw in some leaves. So we're drawing in some leaves just to go whatever way we want. And you can either draw them and then fill them all in, or you can fill them in as you go. And if you just draw them without filling them in, I will show you a trick to color them in. Drag the color, and then up here it says continue filling. Click that, and now it says it changed to color drop, and you can just tap the space you want to fill in with the color. And now you have a book with some cute lines. We're gonna go back to our green color and go just a little bit darker. And make sure you have your studio pen that you added stabilization, and then we'll just go in and add the middle to our leaf. And after all the leaves have this little stem, we're gonna go to the eraser tool, and we're just going to erase what vines we want to make it look like it's wrapping behind the book. So probably if this one is up, we're gonna take this one off. And just erase it to the book edge so that you can see that it is wrapping behind. Maybe erase this one here. And here. There we go. All right, now we have our book with the vine. We can go in, and for each layer you want to swipe over to the right and you should just have the leaves or the vine and the book, and you're gonna group those. You can even tap it and rename it, and we'll just call this book. All right, so here's our book, and we can turn that off, and now we can work on the coffee cup. So make sure you have a new layer and you're not drawing on your book. And then we're gonna go in and we're gonna choose this fun teal color to do our coffee cup. So you just trace the circle for the mouth of the cup. Hold that circle to make it a perfect circle or oval. And then we're gonna come in and draw the sides. And then bring it together at the bottom. We can fill that in. I'm just going to fix this side here. And then make our handle. Then we're going to take a little bit darker color And we're going to come in and just outline parts of our cup. For the middle, we're going to do a matcha drink. And then on top of that, we're going to take a white. Well, actually, it might not be completely white, so we might just go back to that green color. You can hold your finger down to get the color that you want. And then we're just going to move it up closer to where it gets white, but we don't want it to be completely white. And then we're going to draw a heart. And then kind of outline that. We'll outline the heart with some ovals, half ovals, I guess. And now we have some latte art for our coffee cup. It's looking cute. Okay, we're still on the coffee cup layer. Let's make a new layer above it, and then tap that layer and add a clipping mask that allows us to draw just on the cup. It will also draw on the matcha, so we're going to be careful not to draw on that because we want to just add some shading to our cup. So we're going to go back to this color here. You can also hold it down if you want to grab it easy like that. And then we're just going to move it down slightly lower to add some shading. Let's go into airbrushes and use a soft brush. And then we will just give our cup some shadow. Just on the side and on the bottom a little bit. Well, maybe not there. Side and the bottom, and then a little bit on the handle. And this shadow is a little bit too dark, so what we'll do is tap the layers, tap the N on the clipping mask, and take the opacity down just a little bit so that it's a soft shadow. You can also go into your effects here, tap Gaussian blur, and then drag over to the right to feather it out just a little bit. And that's looking really good. All right, you can also add leaves to this one if you want. I'm gonna go back and get that dark color. Make sure you have the right tool. We're gonna go back. You can also go to recent and grab your studio pen that we made. After you grab your studio pen, you are going to make sure you're on a new layer, and then you can just draw some circles around the coffee cup. And I see that both of these ended like this. I think I would rather it one end like that. So I have one ending down and one ending up like that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go back in and add the leaves. Again, you can follow what I'm doing, or you can draw your leaves and then fill them in. Sometimes I like to color them in, and sometimes I will just color drop. Okay, I think we'll start here. I'm going to make it look like the vine's going through and coming out the other end of the coffee cup. So we will erase this part. As it comes down and up, we're going to make it go behind here. and then here. Now we're going to add some texture to the coffee cup. So you want to go back down and touch the coffee cup and add another layer. It automatically became a clipping mask, which is what we want. And it did that because it had a clipping mask above it already. So Procreate assumes that's what you want. If not, you can change it by clicking on it and undoing. We're gonna go to recents. I have these flicks, which I got from spray paints. So click on spray paints and you can click on flicks. And then we're gonna add some texture. So this is the color. I wanna do it just slightly darker. You can go a little bit darker because we can change it in a second. And then we'll just add these flicks to the coffee cup. And then I'm going to erase them from the matcha. Okay, and now we'll go in, tap the end of that layer and take the opacity down so that the texture is not as dark. I'm going to 21 and then I'm gonna move down to see what I might change it to. I took it down to saturation and opacity at 45. So now that's looking really cute. Let's turn on the book to see what it looks like. So now we've got our book and our coffee cup. Okay. What we'll do is turn the book off, and then we need to go ahead and group our coffee cup layers. And I'm going to rename this coffee. You could rename it coffee cup, but I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. And then we'll turn the coffee cup off. The last thing we're going to draw before we move on to our lettering are the books. So we'll need a new layer. Books, we're going to use some different shades of pink and coral. So oops, I'm not going to use spray paint. Inking. So we go back to inking, grab our Studio Pen 2 is probably what you're on. Mine is 3. Then we're going to go to inking and grab our Studio Pen. Yours should be Studio Pen 2. Mine is Studio Pen 3. Okay, with this coral color, I'm going to make sure I'm on a new layer. And then I'm going to drag and then hold for that line. Do a little curve there and a curve. Now, I can fill this book in. I'm going to do a new book with a different color. I'm grabbing this off-white color. Drag and hold the line out. And then the one on the bottom. And then we're going to connect them with an half oval. We'll fill in that. And then we'll get one more book. Let's do a pink one. Drag over your line. And one more. Again, we're just tracing the sketch, and the sketch is, now we're going to fill in that book. That's looking really cute. And then we're gonna click the underneath layer group, and then we're gonna make another layer. And for this layer is going to be the pages. So we're going to need an off-white color. And then we're just going to draw it underneath here. All right. Now we can pinch those together, add another layer, grab, what color do we want? We want like maybe a brighter green color. That might be too bright. Still bright. Okay, we're gonna use this color for the vines. And we're on a new layer. And we're gonna do the same thing, back and forth, adding some leaves. And I'm gonna do them slightly closer together to add a few more leaves. Okay, and then I'm gonna move mine over slightly like that. So if you wanna move, if you decide that you don't like where you drew your vines, you can touch the arrow and then move it to where you want it. And now we're gonna add the leaves. So let's see what we've got when we turn on the other two layers. All right. So what we'll do now is we're going to swipe over right on the leaves and the books so that they're highlighted in blue and you can group them together. And now you can rename this stack or just books. This is the stack of books. All right, and now I'm gonna go down to this coffee cup and I'm actually gonna move it down maybe slightly. Well, let's see here. Actually, the coffee cup needs to be just above the books. There we go. So did you see what I did? So what you can do if your coffee is behind, you wanna hold down your pen tool until the blue grows a little bit, and then you're gonna push it up. Try that again. Push it up above the stack so that the coffee cup is in front of the books. Okay. Now we can move on to lettering. You can add a new layer. Grab the pink. And we're going to trace and it doesn't have to be perfect. Trace your banner, connect it, and then you're going to fill it in. Then you can draw the rest of the banner. All right, and then fill in the banner. And we're gonna use, for this other side of the banner, we're going to use a green color to match our matcha in our book. That looks great. Okay, now we have a problem because we cannot see the lettering, where to place our letters. So we're gonna go down to layer 1 and we're gonna bring it up to the top. And now we can trace over, but we do need a different color. So let's go in and let's double click down by the black, and when you double click, that's gonna give you a true black color. You can use any color you want. Make sure we're on our studio pen. And then we're gonna trace the letters. It's a good day. We're gonna do the part that says to read. We're gonna do that on a different layer, so add a layer. Okay, read turned out a lot bigger. So what I'm gonna do is go back. I'm going to erase larger. And that looks better. Okay, so we could be finished right here, but what we want to do is make the letters look a little bit better. So we're going to go back to the top, and I'm going to add another layer. And then as a cheat for faux calligraphy, I'm going to make the downstrokes just a little bit thicker. And to do this, I'm going to take my pen down just a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go back and pinch those together, and then I'm going to swipe over to the right and duplicate so that I have two, one on top of the other. And for the one on top, I'm going to change the color to white. So I'm going to drag over, drag over, and then continue feeling, and I can, tap each letter so that it's now white. And if you accidentally tap outside of the letter, you can double finger tap to undo, or you can use your undo button over here. So I'm going to tap this last one. Okay, so now I'm going to put the white layer underneath the black layer. And then I'm going to tap the arrow key, and we're just going to move it slightly down and over so that we have a little bit of a shadow. Okay, for down here, we're going to fix the to read. Going to make a new layer, go back to black, and we're just going to add some serifs as well as thicken the downstrokes. All right, now we can turn off the background color. Actually, let's turn it back on. And now we will change the background color to maybe an off yellow, and then just go slightly up so that it's just like a off-white cream color. And I see I have this little dot here, which I'm thinking came from one of the black layers. I'm just not sure which layer, so I'm just going to quickly go through the layers where I have black and see if I can erase that. Got it. There's probably a better way to do that, but now let's turn off the sketch layer and see that we can add a few things. So what we could add is some shadows or texture to the books, the stack of books. I could add some texture to the green book over here. So what we'll do is, first off, I'll put, should I put those on a layer? I think I'm gonna leave the text on the layers that I have, but I am not have, we're gonna group them separately. So what I did is I grouped the lettering to read together so that we can move it separately if we wanted to. I can make it a little bit bigger if I need to. So let's go back to finish up, and let's just add a little texture. We'll go into the group here. We'll click on the books and then add a layer above, tap that layer and add a clipping mask. And then we're going to go in and just add some texture. we need to go to recent, and flicks. And we're just gonna add, to these books here. And let's not add that to the pages, let's just add it to the books. And I did pick a color that is already used, so I'm gonna switch to this coral color for the book in the middle. And now, click on layers, click on that layer, and let's just take the opacity down just a little bit and maybe find a good, let's try, overlay, or we could let's do overlay. And we got 50% for the opacity. And let's see what that looks like. That looks nice. And now we'll do some texture for the green book. Click into the layers, tap the book icon, and then we'll go ahead and get that color. Maybe this one a little bit darker. All right. Oops. Add another layer above. Keep that layer and make it a clipping mask. And now we can add that, except for we don't want it on the pages. Great, and now we can turn the opacity down. And play with what you want. I think we'll do shade. Well, color burn. And then take the opacity down just a little bit. Okay, now we have some nice texture, but I think these books need to stand out a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is take this pink color here. I'm gonna go back into the books group. And I'm gonna add a layer above the clipping mask. And then we're just going to make sure you have the right studio pen. And I'm just gonna add a line to the books. And I'm gonna go back in and make it a little bit thicker. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the coral color for the last book here. All right, now we've given the book some definition. And I'm going to actually take that layer and just take the opacity down just a little bit. Take that back. We're going to go up with it. There we go. 80%. Okay. We just finished a very, very cute, this could be a card, or it could just be, maybe it could be a sticker. I think I do want to maybe make this a little bit bigger. So we can go back over here. This group is It's a Good Day. Maybe just make it slightly bigger and see if we can get it in the middle. I might even move the to read. That's it. Down a little bit, maybe smaller, just like that. How fun is that? So cute. Okay, that was really fun to make. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a book lover like me, I will be doing more Procreate tutorials as well as bullet journaling. It's been years since I've done bullet journaling, but I really want to get back into it, and I just bought some stickers to add to my collection. So we'll be doing some bullet journaling soon, but enjoy learning Procreate, and I hope you wait. So if you enjoyed this Procreate tutorial, I hope you'll subscribe and hang out. So if you enjoyed this Procreate tutorial, I will be doing more in the future. If you want to subscribe and hit the notification so you don't miss any more Procreate tutorials. This was super fun to make and I enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!